Community connections, CKMS. Local sounds, thoughts, passions, and success. Celebrate local, your neighbor's got a story to tell. Community connections, CKMS.
Happy Friday, Waterloo Region. You're listening to CKMS Community Connections for Friday, November the 7th, 2025. My name is Bob Jonkman. Not in the studio with me, but on a web conference is Don Janzen, our Community Radio Fundraising Coordinator. Don, welcome to CKMS Community Connections. So here we start with our usual technical difficulties already. I don't think Don can hear us. All right, we'll listen to a little bit of Boogie Woogie by Jason Shaw from Audionautics while we try to solve our technical difficulties. One moment, please. Jason Shaw from Audionautics produces royalty-free, Creative Commons licensed music that we use fairly frequently on Radio Waterloo for bed music for things like fundraiser promos. On the web conference is Don Janzen. How are you doing, Don? Tell me again.
What's that?
How are you doing? And what is new in the way of fundraising at Radio Waterloo? Okay, Don is shaking his head, so I don't think that means that nothing is new at Radio Waterloo, but I think it means that Don can't hear me. So, back to the music while we try to solve these technical difficulties yet again.
Trust the ones you love. Pay
The White House from Cambridge. New single called Crossroads. I've invited him into the studio. Haven't heard back from him yet. White House, if you're listening, email me at bob@radiowaterloo.ca and we'll set up an appointment to come on Community Connection so we can talk about your music. We're going to talk to Don Janzen, the Radio Waterloo coordinator for our fundraising committee. Don, welcome to CKMS Community Connections.
Thanks, Bob.
And he's there. All right. Technical difficulties have been overcome.
How's the weather up there?
The weather is terrible. I
Same here.
took the bus in today. It was not biking weather.
Eesh.
Yeah.
I haven't left my place yet today. It looks like I can look outside though. It doesn't look that great.
Stay in. Not worth going out. What is happening at Radio Waterloo for the next week and a half?
Well, we're in the middle of our fundraising event for fall of 2025. We've given it a name. We call it Power Up Community Radio because that's what it's all about. It's about community radio and promoting groups and viewpoints from the Waterloo region and playing some music.
And playing some music, yes.
The music is just a filler, though. The filler for important stuff, like what you do.
Well, if I was doing what I was doing the way I'm supposed to do it, you wouldn't have had the technical difficulties.
That's okay.
What?
No, we're in the fundraising, so we're hoping to raise some money because running the station isn't free. There are costs associated. No matter how lean a machine you run, there are costs, and programmers do kick in for some of the costs, but doesn't cover everything, or certainly not covering as many things as what we'd like to do. So it's a bit restricting at that in a way.
You say when programmers are covering the cost. Do you want to explain that?
Sure. Not only do programmers like me and you not get paid for our service, it's worse than that. We have to pay to play. But I don't mind. There's a huge benefit to running a show from Radio Waterloo, and it's a fairly small price to pay, I think, for the services or the benefits that we receive.
Right.
But,
and those funds, for anybody interested in starting your own show on Radio Waterloo, it's $33 a month for a 1-hour show in prime time, or half that for a show in the off-peak hours, and of course half that for a half-hour show or an alternate week show. But anybody in the community and even outside the community can run their own show, can host their own show. And those are the programmers, the show hosts. And we ask them to contribute to the radio station because that is the bulk of our funding. The programmer fees is the bulk of our funding.
And I always point out to people when I tell them that, I mentioned there's benefits to that. First of all, there's quite an extensive digital library of music. Thanks to Richard Giles, and ongoing, he's always putting more music in there. So there's quite a lot to pick there. So what I do is I have a wish list of songs of what I'd like to find, and I have a couple of sources where I can find that music. Obviously, I can buy my own as well, but Radio Waterloo, their database certainly is one of my sources. And I can use that music anytime I want. The other benefit is having the radiowaterloo.ca website, where I have an about page that talks about my show, what it's all about, and I can post my show every week right up there.
And your show
my show is Radio Nowhere. So that's a Bruce Springsteen ripoff for the title. Which is kind of funny because I think I only own a couple of Bruce Springsteen songs. Never been a huge fan, but I picked that name because I thought it exemplified what I was trying to do. It's a show that's sort of a variety. It's an overused term, but it's a eclectic mix of different kind of songs, based on and firmly rooted in 60s and early 70s rock. But anyway, so I can post. I have a post there that describes my show and it gives access to people to listen to it and to listen to archived versions of the show as well. So I'm just setting up my show number 135. So that goes back to March of 2023. So all those shows are there. Not only that, I can also create a podcast version of my song or my show.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that anybody that wants to download the podcast version of the show onto their mobile device, for instance, and take it with them when they go for a walk, as I do. I listen to a lot of podcasted shows from around the world. And when I go for a walk or when I'm on a road trip, I've got some things to listen to. So that's huge, those are the things that I'm syndicated into a couple of other stations internationally even, and none of those stations offer those benefits. So this is where Radio Waterloo is pretty unique for its programmers.
Right. But the fees that you pay, that other programmers pay to be on the radio, don't cover all the operating expenses.
Not quite, I don't think. It means that if anything out of the ordinary comes along, it really impacts us. It really impacts the finances. I never really had a clear understanding of that until I joined the board, but it's tight, very tight. We are not able to hire any staff to do fun things. We're not able to. Some of our programmers go above and beyond, like Bob and Jeff and Carmelo and people and Yenny. They go above and beyond, investing their time and sometimes their assets and their stuff that they buy, and they don't get paid back from that. So it's tough. We'd like to be able to hire people for social media and marketing and stuff like that, but there's just no money in the budget. Yeah. So yes, so far anyway.
We do get a grant, the Local Journalism Initiative grant, which lets us hire a part-time journalist. That's Dan Keller, who does the CKMS News. But that's a separate budget that doesn't come out of the general coffers and can only be used for the journalism stuff. So doesn't actually help offset any of the station expenses. And in fact, it's actually increased some of our expenses because it does total into our net operating budget, which is how we pay our SOCAN fees. SOCAN fees are based on the operating budget. So not quite sure that it's...
But tell me that money's not taxable.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Jordan.
I'm not on the finance committee. Jordan Callist is our treasurer as of September, doing a bang-up job. And we'll be analyzing all the results from the fundraiser as the results rolled in, as the donations rolled in. So let's make a pitch for people to donate. What do people do?
Well, it's very easy. Year-round, there's a donate button on the homepage, radiowaterloo.ca. It's right there on the left side of the screen. But for the fundraising effort, what we'd like people to do is go to radiowaterloo.ca/give. And that will take you to a pledge form. And on that pledge form, we ask you to give us just 2 minutes of your time and fill out that information on there. It asks for your name and your email address, and there's reasons for that. It's some of the prizes that we have. In order to get them to you, we need to email them to you. So we need that information. We also ask you to indicate on that form what's your favorite show or shows that you listen to on CKMS, so we can give proper kudos to the show hosts that run those shows, because we don't often hear from our listeners unless it's a show where you have a call in, which I'm not sure we have too many of those. It's sometimes hard to know who's listening and to what extent. So it asks you to list the show or shows that you listen to, and then it asks you to enter, or how should we put this? If you had a choice of a bunch of gifts, which gift would you like? And we have several gifts from very generous vendors and sponsors in the Kitchener-Waterloo area. And they're listed there, and you can pick from those. Did you want to go through those, Bob? Or
I want to go through them right now. I've got them on the screen.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So to start off with, there's a number of gifts that have been provided by ZM Cycle and Fitness, who have been very generous sponsors, not just for this fundraising campaign, but for previous fundraising campaigns as well.
Right.
The one at the top of the list is a car bike rack, a 3-bike car rack that is a retail value of $349.
Pretty good.
There is a bike helmet, a youth small helmet from ZM Cycle and Fitness. Retail value is about $50. So you have a young person who's getting into biking, then here's a helmet that would fit them. And 2 pairs of gloves being given away individually. A Pearl Izumi gel bike glove from ZM Cycle and Fitness, about $50 in value, and an orange pair of Fox Ranger bike gloves, also about $50. So I'm a bikeist, a cyclist, so I think the gloves would be the thing that I would want.
Yeah, and just a quick shout out to Ziggy. Ziggy, I'm sorry, I'm not going to try to pronounce your last name because it's fairly long. But he, like Bob said, he's been a sponsor, a supporter of Radio Waterloo for quite some time, and that's a very, very generous set of gifts that he's offered us. So I hope people will go down to ZM Cycle and Fitness on Strange Street, I believe it is, on Kitchener. Say hi to Ziggy and tell them that the folks at Radio Waterloo sent you, and spend lots of money.
Yeah, exactly.
And or if you're going to donate, put your tick mark beside one of those gifts.
Exactly.
They look pretty great.
Exactly. Another pretty cool gift from Shaw Music Studio up in Fergus.
Yes.
It's a guitar package that includes an electric guitar, an amplifier, a guitar stand, the cables and stuff associated to hook them all up together. Retail value $426. So
wow. Thanks to Shaw Music.
Yes, that's Shaw Music is Linda and Kara Shaw. Kara does a music show on Friday afternoons. In fact, opposite CKMS Community Connections. So CKMS Community Connections is on the air alternate Fridays, and the weeks that we're not on, Kara is on doing some music. You want to tell us about
folks,
how Kara?
You got to catch that. You got to catch that show. It's. I was breezing through the about pages for our shows one day, and I saw this show, and she publishes a playlist of music that she presents on the show, and I saw the Animals, House of the Rising Sun, a band from Britain from the 60s, and I thought, oh, I know that song, I better check it out. Well, it's Kara who knows like every song in the world ever created. I think she wins bar bets by challenging people, and it's her singing and playing the music just on a piano, on a keyboard. Mm-hmm. So it's really a very different, that's for sure. And it's kind of addictive to listen to after a while. And that gift that there's Linda's son too, or there's a brother, I forget his name now, but I think they own and run the Shaw Music Studios, and they provided a hugely generous gift package, $426. Yeah. That's a lot. That's pretty good. Yeah. So that's available for someone to choose if they want to. Try for it.
Exactly. All right. Moving down the list, there is a print of a white Siberian tiger laying down, probably coming back from a snooze or something, professionally framed in a 44-inch by 28-inch frame, so it's long and skinny. Retail value $200, generously donated by Don Janzen.
Who's that?
Ah.
Well, don't forget my wife Kim. She's the one that initially bought that print, and we've moved again, and there's just not enough walls to put everything up. So we thought, rather than give it away to whatever, we might as well see if we can offer it as a gift. And that $200, I mean, she originally found one that said $500, and I said, well, let's not oversell this thing. But the frame alone is worth a couple of $100.
There you go.
So the reclining tiger, I think I've always thought he just came back from eating a water buffalo or something. Who knows? There's no blood on his face anywhere, so maybe you're right.
Right. This is a snoozing tiger.
Yes.
Waterloo Taxi, who has also been a previous sponsor, has
Yes.
provided a number of vouchers for a total of $150. I think they're $15 vouchers, so 10 vouchers altogether, being
Correct.
given away as a bundle. So it gives you a number of taxi rides. Now, apparently, if you don't consume the entire voucher in one trip, the money in there stays put, and you can apply it to a second trip later on. So another very generous offer from Waterloo
Yes.
Taxi.
Yep. Big supporter as well.
Yes, yes. I think we'll probably see a show on the air by Waterloo Taxi at some point. I'm
good.
pretty sure you can convince those folks to talk about transportation issues in Waterloo region. There's a lot of
good
stuff
idea.
going on. You know, all the ride sharing programs. They've got an app to compete with the ride sharing programs, which is quite successful from what I understand. So lots of material there for a show.
So that's a good gift for people that like to, how should we say, party, like to go out and maybe imbibe a little bit.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about a designated driver anymore if you've got those things in your pocket. So that's a pretty good deal.
Yeah. Something from B&K Collectibles.
Go ahead, Bob. Explain this one.
New thing to me. Something called
me too.
Funko Pop Collectibles, which are vinyl figures that are, well, collectible, of a number of different things. So the big prize that we've got there is a Funko Pop Collectible U2 Zoo TV Tour, which has a value of $120. There's 4 figurines in the set, and possibly some other artifacts in there as well. I'm not entirely sure. All I have to go by here is the picture that we've got on the internet. So you can see that at radiowaterloo.ca/give. Retail value $120. So these are obviously rare limited edition items, which I'd never even heard of until now.
You know, I was at visiting my daughter and son-in-law and their daughter yesterday because it was my daughter's birthday. And I'm sitting in their living room and I'm looking at their bookcase. And what do you think I see? I look at this thing and I go, "Hey, that's a Funko Pop." And they all looked at me like, "How did you know that?" So apparently it is. It's as they say, it's a thing. People collect these things. Again, like you, I'd never heard of them before, but
Right.
now we know.
Now we know.
Yep.
2 other Funko Pop collectibles. There's a Funko Pop WWE Unmatched Fury. The Rock is the wrestler who's depicted there. So that has a retail value of $75. Comes in a boxed set. And then there's a Funko Pop telephone. It's a Fisher-Price retro toy from, I don't know, from my youth even.
Yep.
I remember
Everybody had one or knew somebody that did.
exactly,
Guarantee it.
exactly. Pulling it along behind you and it goes chicka 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 chicka. I remember that. So they're back now as collectible items from B&K Collectibles. Check them out. They're in Waterloo, I believe. Maybe not. Maybe Kitchener.
Oh boy, we should know this.
Okay, we should know this stuff.
Dan at B&K Collectible, I communicated with him a little bit, and he made this very generous offer. Didn't have to twist his arm much at all. He was very good about it.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yep.
Moving along, the Dog-Eared Cafe, nice little secondhand bookstore and coffee shop in Paris, Ontario, is offering a $50 gift certificate. So I guess that goes to a bunch of books or possibly a whole lot of coffee. If you're going,
They have sandwiches and pastries and baked goods there, so it's I've been there a few times. It's quite good. So
I was in Paris a fair bit a few years back, but I think the Dog-Eared Cafe is fairly new.
they opened up in 2021 during the initial year of COVID.
Okay.
Because they had a takeout window, which is still there. So that's how
Okay.
they operated at the beginning.
That seems like a bad plan, opening up something in the middle of a COVID pandemic.
It doesn't. It's all uphill from there, right?
Yeah.
Or it's all
Yeah.
blue skies from there.
If you can make it during COVID, then you
Yep.
can make it anytime. So
Yep.
check them out. Paris on the main drag there, and I think across from the Arlington Arms Hotel.
It's at that end of the V Street, yes.
Right,
At
right.
the north end, so close to Waterloo, closer to the Waterloo Kitchener end of things. So
Yeah, by all of a
take you
few hundred
40
meters.
minutes to get there.
And we have some T-shirts to give away. Two T-shirts have been donated by DJ Carmelo, DJ Carmelo of Street Hop, and one of them is a Street Hop T-shirt. Has the logo for Street Hop, an outline of DJ Carmelo silhouetted in white on a black T-shirt. Says Street Hop, which is Thursdays at 10 p.m. Carmelo's been on the air for 22 years now, so one of our longest running shows on Radio Waterloo. So he has a couple of T-shirts, giving away a Street Hop T-shirt, and he's giving away a CKMS-FM branded T-shirt as well, with the CKMS logo on a white T-shirt. So those are nice. And then the final T-shirt we've got is the classic Radio Waterloo sunflower on an antenna T-shirt. And so all three T-shirts have a retail value of about $20. And I know that for the Radio Waterloo T-shirt we have only two sizes, small and large. So if you're an extra large guy like Don and I happen to be, then you may be slightly out of luck, or it'll be a snug, ab and pec accentuating
one of those
T-shirt.
crop tops.
Yeah,
Don't even think about that.
Yeah.
But everybody has someone in their life that they could give those to, so it's doesn't have to be for you specifically, but you might have somebody. Or Christmas is coming.
That's right.
That applies to all those gifts, really. Christmas is coming. Get a cheap gift.
There you go. You qualify for a gift by making a donation, which you can do at radiowaterloo.ca/give. And on Monday, the 17th of November, well after the fundraising campaign is done, we'll be having an on-air special, 8 p.m. on that Monday, where we'll be giving away those gifts. Don will be back for that. We'll probably have a studio full of radio personalities, so come join us. And before then, make a donation, radiowaterloo.ca/give. Click on the pledge button that's on the page there. Have a look through the gifts, see which one you'd like to receive.
And if you're listening to Bob's voice, obviously you listen to CKMS in one way or another, one form or another. It might be a show that you like Radio Nowhere, who knows? Mm-hmm. Or it might be one of the various spoken word shows that are on. Poems of Divine
Power was on this morning.
Yes, was on this morning. And I listened to that show for a while. I've been kind of listening in on a few shows to see if they're promoting the fundraising. And sure enough, Richard and Annaline, they had a few words to say about the fundraising. Quite a few words, actually. I was pretty impressed. So,
very good.
But that was there's those kinds of shows as well. There's obviously the community news shows and things like that. Yeah,
we have a bunch of syndicated shows on the air as well. A bunch of autoplay shows where we don't have a show host to fill in the time slot, so we fill it with music from the library. Let's listen to some of that music from the library. Here's the Saskatoons, Phosphorus is Hesperus, from what I think is my favorite album of the year. The Saskatoons. The new Venus album phosphorus and Hesperus from that. Tony Salomon was in the studio about a year ago, actually. I think it was November of last year. Said the Saskatoons are going to go through the entire solar system, working from the planet Mercury out to, I can't recall now if he said that he's going to include Pluto, what with it not being a planet any longer. Got Don Janzen on the web conference. Don Janzen is our fundraising coordinator for Radio Waterloo.
So they tell me.
Yeah, how'd you get into that?
Well, somebody by the name of Bob voluntold me. That's a term I learned a few years ago when my eye doctor voluntold me I was going to work on his election campaign. So that means I was volunteering because he was telling me. So Bob convinced me to join the board at Radio Waterloo. Little did I know that when you volunteer for the board, thou shalt also sit on a committee. So that was out there. Now I live in Windsor. I'm a few miles down the road from Waterloo, so I thought that would get me out of having to do any of that stuff, but apparently not. And as it turns out, fundraising and advertising is something that can be done largely remotely, but I still need kind of boots on the ground there as well. So I need people that are local to help me out. But a lot of it's coordinating activity is what it's all about, and that can be done from pretty much anywhere. So it's been interesting. I've been doing this since September, I guess, October, and that's when I also found out. Guess what? We have a fundraiser scheduled for the first 2 weeks of November, and I went, oh, okay, that could be doable, I guess. And here we are.
Right. Taking a step back from that, how'd you get involved with the radio station in the first place?
Well, prior to my retirement in 2019, I guess it was, I've always listened to, or not always, for a long time, I've listened to community radio or college university radio because that's where all the great new music is being played.
Yeah.
And I sat in on a show that was run here in Windsor, the University of Windsor station. I sat in there, and the station manager who was running the show that I was sitting in on said, "Hey, you should have a show here. They take anybody," allegedly. So a couple of years after I retired, I tried to take him up on that, but he was gone by then. But that was I was not successful. So I'm a reject from that station. So I said, well, let's find somebody that'll take me. So I get on the internet, and I found Radio Waterloo. And they said, sure, come on in. They literally will take anybody if you've got money in your pocket.
Yeah. And even if you don't, because we do have some subsidies available for people who aren't able to make the programming fees,
right.
So that we make community radio available to everyone.
I couldn't really plead poverty, so I don't qualify for that. And I wanted to play a music show. I grew up in my musical awareness happened in the mid 60s when FM radio, especially out of Detroit across the river from us, was really taking a hold. And that was, the DJs could play whatever they wanted. And obviously it was a lot of the rock of the day, the Creams, the Led Zeppelin and bands like that. But they'd also sprinkle in some blues, some rhythm and blues, some classic music once in a while, even some comedy. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of Firesign Theater, but
I remember those.
Oh yeah, you do. Very good, Bob. I'm gonna play some of that on my. Actually, I've played snippets on my show before. Right. I don't know if anybody's ever noticed. Right at the tail end, a couple minutes, but that was the style. And I moved to Toronto in the early '70s, and after high school, and I was very unimpressed, underwhelmed by the radio in Toronto, and I really missed what I had left. I almost came back home again, but I didn't. But that was really just kind of a flash in the pan. By mid '70s, that whole format was gone, so it was kind of short lived. But I always remembered that, and I said that's the kind of show I want to have. And of course, at Radio Waterloo, I have that freedom. Yeah. Especially when I started off, I was in the middle of the night because it was cheaper, and
overnight.
Overnight, yeah. So midnight on Saturday nights. So not that I thought anybody that I knew was still up at midnight, but anyway, who knows? But then lately I've moved to 9 o'clock on Mondays, prime time hours, which that's a good place to be as well. So it's been fun. I really enjoy it. It takes me now. I'm at the point now where, once I decide on my playlist, I can have the front end stuff for the show ready in about an hour, uploaded and scheduled in the Radio Waterloo software, and then on the other end, when I create a post on the website and do my podcast stuff, that's another hour. So 2 hours a week. It's pretty good. And not only one show a week, I get two shows. Once you've been
Mm-hmm.
paying your dues properly for 3 months, that you get a replay time slot. So I have two shows a week, so 8 shows a month for $34, $33. I mean, that's a great deal.
Yeah. So you joined the radio station, got coerced into being on the board. Did you volunteer to do the advertising committee, or was that thrust upon you as well?
I think Richard nominated me, didn't he?
Could have been. Don't
I think
remember.
it was.
I wasn't there for that.
Oh, you weren't? Okay.
No.
Yeah, I think it was Richard that threw my name in the hat for that. And so, I said, I'm contributing every month financially to the station, but it seemed like, once I was on the board and understanding what's going on a little bit more, I thought, well, what else can I do? And I'm retired. Give me a break. I don't have a job like I think everyone else on the board does, or demands on my time, like family. Like my wife's here, but she doesn't need me. But I don't have kids to think about. I don't have parents to worry about. So, I have the time to devote to this, and it's actually this. I'm surprised. Maybe I shouldn't be surprised, but it's a fair amount of work that went into setting up this fundraiser. As Bob knows, Bob's my tech expert, my technical support. So it's a fair amount of work to do this. So it's not a trivial matter.
Yeah. So what does it take to put on a fundraising campaign?
Well, it takes knowledge of some local vendors to get some gifts, as we do every year, or we try to do every year. And then it's just a matter of making a plan. And fortunately, there was a skeleton of a plan that was from previous years. So I leaned on that a lot and just kind of fleshed it out. And then, obviously getting people on the committee, and I have 5 or 6 people that are pretty good about, getting on every week for the meeting that we had.
Some of us are better than others.
Yes.
Some of us are worse than others. Sorry, I missed your meeting on Tuesday.
I wasn't going to say anything, Bob, but yeah, when Richard and I had chatted, we talked about you. Did your ears burn?
Oh, no, I was completely oblivious.
No, it's been good so far. Now we're into the fundraising event, so it's done. There's not a whole lot more we can do at this point. We don't want to make any changes, and it's running along. So, but I'm making all kinds of notes about what to do once this is done. We'll obviously do a debrief or post-mortem, whatever you want to call them, and talk about what went right, what went wrong, and take feedback from as many sources as we can, and to plan the next one, which will be spring.
Right. Should be starting around the beginning of May.
Yeah. So between then and now, I'll be focusing more on the advertising and the sponsorship aspect of my job.
Right. Yeah, we could use some sponsors. I mean, that's one of the ways that we make community radio affordable for everybody. If one of our community leaders were to step up and say, I would sponsor a show on sports, I would sponsor a show on new music, I would sponsor a show on vintage music, then, please do so, and we'll be glad to put you in touch with one of the programmers that could use the assistance, the financial assistance. And,
the other thing, too, that we forget to focus on, too, is the membership with a $20 contribution, and it's $24. So, but for this fundraising event, it's a special $4 off. So $20, you can become a member, which entitles you to be involved in the annual meetings that we have. So have more of a voice in how the station is run. Plus, that's not all. You also get a host your own show certificate. So you can have a half hour of airtime.
Even an hour.
And even an hour to do whatever you want. Whether it's, you've always wanted to have a music show, you can play music if you wanted to talk, or you want to do a little of both. That $20 entitles you to that, and maybe that'll tempt you into becoming a full-time programmer. in joining the rest of us. So
Right.
yeah, $20.
Get you the membership, get you the host your own show special, get you in the door to start your own show if you want to do a full-time show. And that's happened a few times. You've had some people who've hosted their own show, decided they liked the whole idea of that, and have joined us to become permanent hosts.
And it's either in studio, which that's what all the cool guys do, right, Bob? Being in the studio and running your show from there. Or if you're lazy like me, and you don't want to drive 3 hours once a week to do a show in studio, you do it at home and you upload it.
Right.
So
got about half
all kinds
the
of ways.
programmers doing their show from inside the studio, so they can be in here, run the board, try to run the board and the video and the interview all at the same time.
I admire you guys for doing that. It's like, I can't imagine. I mean, that's kind of what I had in my head for, like, what are my initials, Bob?
DJ? Oh, yes.
Exactly. Exactly. So this has been something that's been in my head since I was a kid. And of course, I always pictured myself, Dr. Johnny Fever on WKRP in Cincinnati, grabbing that mic boom and flinging it around and spinning the records. But it didn't work out that way. It's
I've been with the station.
Maybe one day.
I've been with the station almost 7 years now, and I have yet to actually spin a record. I've spun some CDs, but most of the stuff that I get is straight from the digital library, the Libertime library that has.
You have to cue it up. You have to do stuff, right?
Have to do a little bit of stuff like that.
Overdub and stuff like that, and
trim the ends so that it doesn't fall off the edge. Don't want
crossfading. Crossfading. I love crossfading. It's a blast. Having one song fade out and another song. And when I was younger too, I always hated when the DJs would do that, because quite often you want to record stuff on the radio, and they would talk over the beginning of the song, and then they would layer one song on top of the other. I used to hate that, but I do it myself.
It's an art, isn't it?
It is. It's fun, and you kind of match up the tempo, and sometimes you don't. Sometimes it's a real break. So anyway,
you have mixing software that'll do that for you, or it'll line up the beats for you, so you don't even have to do the manual adjustment for that. And just push the button and off it goes.
Does Audacity do that?
Not Audacity. This is a tool that we use called Mix, MIXXX.
Okay.
Free open source software that anybody can download, and that software itself will actually connect straight to our Libertime radio automation software. So if you were to run this at home, you could have this DJ mixing console to do your crossfading, plug it right into the radio, and go live on the air from your own home studio.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds scary to me, but
we have the technology. We know how.
Yeah.
So, what's coming up for you, Don? What are you planning to do in I don't know, over the next week during the rest of the
fundraising obviously is my biggest focus. I'm doing several conference calls, as you know, and things like that. And I'm keeping my eye on our leaderboard that shows which shows are attracting calls and pledges and things like that.
Right.
And watching the balance going up, and it was a slow start, but we've picked up lately, but we still got a week to go yet. So, and I don't really want to say where we are in terms of our goal, because I want to blast that goal. I want to get twice to what the goal is. I was listening to CIUT out of Toronto the other day. They have their fundraising coming up, and their goal is $100,000.
Yes.
And that hasn't started yet. And the guy says, "Well, we've already got 13,000." And I went, "Oh my gosh, it must be nice."
Yeah.
But they've got a well-heeled alumni and lots of deep pockets in Toronto, so it's a different environment.
They also have a much larger catchment area than ours. They've got a transmitter that's broadcast at least 10 times as far as what Radio Waterloo is. We've got about a 15-kilometer radius outside around our tower. So we get to the fringes of Guelph. Sadly, we don't get to all of Cambridge. Cambridge is the southern area of Waterloo region, and the transmitter is fairly far to the north. So we don't quite make it to the south end of Cambridge, which is unfortunate.
But with the wonder of the internet now, you can listen to radio stations anywhere you are. I have several that are in my favorites list. I use a Radio Garden and TuneIn, and from across North America and a couple in Europe, and one in Santiago, Chile.
Yeah.
Futuro Radio. It's pretty interesting to listen to what's happening around the world.
Yeah.
And that makes everything more portable too. You don't have to be in that area to listen to it.
Yeah, we're on the radio browser.info ourselves. That's the one that I've subscribed our streaming service to. So if you want to listen to us online, if you're listening to us some other way, we're at radiowaterloo.ca/listen, and there's a button on there to actually collect the stream, which is right now radiowaterloo.ca/stream. That's the almost direct link. It'll get you redirected to the actual servers. The server will move around from place to place, so use radiowaterloo.ca/stream to plug into your device if you want to listen to us online.
The neat thing about Radio Garden is, which one of the apps that I use, it starts off with a green map of the world.
Yeah.
And you can kind of zero in on any city in the world, whether it's Windsor or Waterloo, or San Francisco or Amsterdam. I mean, and then you just click on that and you can get a list of the stations in that area and you can listen to them there. It's pretty cool.
Right. I think I want to catch one more song before we call it quits. So Codename Justine, this is Sally Ride.
Wake up, honey, wake up, your man is here. He's just as high as a millionaire. Mean as some guy who lives up in the air. So many stories, no, you can't reach up there. Honey, wake up, your man is here. Ride, Sally, ride down on the floor. You make him beg for more. You got no pride, foolish pride. What is it good for? Ride, Sally, ride on the floor. One man had you in the broad daylight, was a happy end to an endless night. What does it matter if he took a walk? Who needs all the chatter? Yeah, the talk, talk, talk. Ooh, ooh. Yeah, this life, it's just a lottery. It's just a nickel to through the tunnel of love. Don't tell me the way things ought to be. The rich are rich 'cause the poor are poor. Well, wake up, honey, wake up, your man's here. He's just as high as a millionaire. Mean as some guy who lives up in the air. So many stories, no, you can't reach up there. Honey, wake up, your man is here. Oh, wake up, your man is here. Well, wake up, honey, your man is here.
Codename Justine from Cambridge. Got to get them into the studio as well. Really good band, country, Canadiana, stuff like that. New album out, so that was called Sally Ride from, I'm not entirely sure which album it is that they've got out. Radio Heart. Codename Justine is the name of the...
Codename.
Yeah, Codename Justine is the name of the group.
I like that.
Yeah.
Making a note.
We are in the last few minutes of today's show. You're listening to CKMS Community Connections. I'm Bob Jonkman. He's Don Janzen.
Yes, he is.
And we are here together to try to raise some funds for Radio Waterloo.
Yes.
And how do we do that? How can people contribute?
Get all of the money out of your bank, cash in all of your RSPs, and send the cash to us. No.
While that would be nice,
would be nice.
We are far more modest in our needs.
We can forget the fundraising for a couple of years. No, radiowaterloo.ca/give. That's the link to the donate website, the pledge form, I guess. And when you get there, there's a few questions we need you to answer: your name and email address and things like that. Which show or shows that you like listening to, so we can give a high five to those show hosts for their part in all this. They're obviously doing a good job one way or another to attract that donation. Mm-hmm. And then there's there's options of how to pay that. We got a lot of different options, so I don't think anybody's going to be disappointed and not see their favorite way of contributing to things or paying for things.
Yeah, there's a credit card, which maxes out at $100, unfortunately.
Right.
PayPal, which can also be done through a credit card. E-transfers, so we can accept money straight from your bank. And you can always use the old check in the mail, and that works too.
What's a check?
These are the little paper indicators of a transfer of wealth.
I see. I'm not familiar with that. Or cash. I don't know what cash is anymore either.
I'm still
it's all there. And then there's also a section where, thanks to the generosity of several Kitchener, Waterloo, and Paris, Ontario,
and
vendors,
Fergus, Ontario.
Yep. And where?
Fergus. Shaw Music Studios is in
Fergus.
Yeah.
Well, isn't that part of Kitchener, Waterloo?
No, not even close.
I'm sorry. I know where it is. I've been there. But yeah, these people have been gracious enough to provide a prize or gift that our listeners could be eligible to receive. And we ask you to pick one that you'd want to have your name against, and then we'll do a draw on November 17th to see who actually gets it.
Not even so much of a draw. We're just picking and choosing based on some arbitrary criteria that is not yet determined.
You might be the only one that selected that prize, so that's a no-brainer.
That would be the easy way of
yes.
Giving out the gifts. But
we have so many of them, it's possible.
It's possible, yeah.
And those gifts are?
Those gifts, quick recap of the gifts, is ZM Cycle has provided a number of bicycle-related gifts. A helmet, a bike rack to mount on the back of your car, holds 3 bikes, 2 pairs of gloves. Shaw Music Studio has donated an entire guitar set, guitar amplifier, stand, cables and such. Don and Kim Janzen have donated a Jan Henderson white tiger print. A little confusion on my part there. Lovely picture of a white Siberian tiger reclining after a meal of water buffalo. Vouchers from Waterloo Taxi, $150 in taxi vouchers from Waterloo Taxi. 3 prizes from B&K Collectibles, Funko Pops, the U2 Zoo TV Tour collectible set, the Unmatched Fury The Rock figurine from Funko Pops as well, and a Funko Pop retro toy telephone, the Fisher-Price Chatter telephone that anybody who's at least as old as we are should remember. A gift certificate from the Dog-Eared Cafe in Paris, good for $50 worth of coffee or books or any combination thereof. And then 3 t-shirts, 1 t-shirt from DJ Carmelo, Street Hop, another t-shirt from DJ Carmelo, a CKMS logo t-shirt, and a Radio Waterloo t-shirt, the classic sunflower on an antenna, 3 t-shirts worth $20 each.
And those gifts are all, there's photos of these gifts on the pledge form, so you don't have to kind of assume what these things are. You can actually see them.
Yeah, both on the pledge form and on the the radiowaterloo.ca/give website as well. So head over to radiowaterloo.ca/give, click the pledge button, make a donation, and help keep Radio Waterloo on the air. I mean, as Don was saying earlier, the finances really are pretty tight. It doesn't take much, like an increase in rent or an increase in electricity costs or license fees for SOCAN to put us over the edge where we won't be able to sustain being on the radio any longer. Community radio is a unique thing. I mean, Kitchener-Waterloo, the Waterloo region, has 3 community-style radio stations. There's CKMS, CKWR, which is the sister station, was also formerly a University of Waterloo radio station, and CJIQ, the teaching station at Conestoga College, where radio broadcasters go on the air to learn how to be radio broadcasters. That's unusual. Not every place has that amount of community radio. Radio Waterloo is unique in that we have completely different content from all the other radio stations in the area. So keep us on the air, make a donation. Don Janzen, fundraising coordinator for Radio Waterloo. Thank you so much for coming on the radio, telling us about the fundraiser, doing the pitch, giving us a little bit of your background, and just generally gabbing. Yeah, it was good. CKMS Community Connections is a production of Radio Waterloo. We're sponsored by Radio Waterloo. The executive producer is Jennifer Strong. My name is Bob Jonkman. CKMS Community Connections now airs every Monday at 3 p.m. and alternate Fridays at 3 p.m. as well. I'll be back next week. I'll be back for the Monday evening 8 p.m. show as well. Bye, everybody.